and he's not fine. And then he gets injured. And COVID happened, and all these things ruined his junior season. And so now we're like, okay, or his sophomore season. We're like, what do we have now? We don't know what Jeremiah Payton is or he's even supposed to be.
Yeah,
he is the most frustrating receiver that we have in our squad.
That's saying something.
Yeah, and last season was wide open for him, and so really like, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for any guys last year because it was wide open. You know what I mean? If there was a guy if there was a guy that had the talent and ability to take a starting spot or a rotation spot by the horns and own it, it was last year. And nobody rose to the challenge besides Mike Harley. So I think that speaks a lot towards the room. I mean, granted, for freshmen, like they had the excuse that they were freshmen, right? But for guys that were in the program for more than a year, there's not really a lot of excuses there.
No, there isn't. No, there is not. And Steph, I know you were really big going into last year on Jeremiah Payton, if I remember correctly. But he's just been so. He's a Green Tree guy, man, and Green Tree All-American.
I don't blame Steph though, because I mean we all were. Yeah, he was getting the Greg Rousseau treatment. I mean, we were all hearing it, we were all talking about it. And that people were saying like, oh, wait till you see Jeremiah Payton. He's a first-round body. If I remember right, there were people throwing around like he could be the next Andre Johnson with his, physical stature and stuff. Like,
you know what it was? The Amon Richards spirit that everyone saw and wanted back after his unfortunate situation with the team got transferred directly into Payton.
Yes.
All that energy went right into Payton because they're the same size, the same stature, the same pedigree. Everyone's like, you know what? It's going to be the same. He's got the dog mentality. We're good. And it just didn't happen.
Bro, if I hear the phrase dog mentality one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. And I love players that have the dog mentality, but I got to see it.
Dude, it gets thrown around way too much. It gets thrown around.
And only with Miami, I swear.
And it gets thrown around way too much for a team that lost against North Carolina on the first drive of the game. You know what I mean? Like, if we had a team full of dogs, we would have lasted more than one drive.
I know a guy that reminds me about that every day, but we won't go into that here.
I get it. I get what everyone says, but if you really boil it down to brass tacks,
what it is.
It's not all lies. It's not all lies.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. Okay, let's touch on tight end really quickly before finishing up with the offensive line. I think Will Mallory's in primed for a big year, and I think Elijah Arroyo is going to end up at the end of spring as the number 2 tight end. Steph, any thoughts?
I'll tell you what, and I hate to keep pubbing that darn article I wrote, but the only one that I really
rooftops, man.
Hey man, there it is. But the only thing I actually really felt confident about was that Will Mallory has an excellent chance at taking these tight end records for Miami. I mean, the guy is the only one in the room. I'm not spitting on Arroyo or Memorelli or Hodges, but it's like the situation where you had David Njoku and Herndon. It's not like Mallory and Jordan of the past couple of years. It's Mallory and kind of everyone else, because Hodges didn't really step up when Jordan went down last year. Memorelli still has a lot of things to learn, and Arroyo is a rookie. Or a freshman, so he's going to have those lumps. So Mallory's the guy. He'll be on the field 80% of the time. And I think what's the record? I think 726 in yards for tight ends. I think that's in very, very, very close range for him. The closest numbers we had for that was Njoku in 16, I think, for 698. I think Mallory's right there.
Okay.
The guy he's everything.
Yeah, I think Will Mallory is an absolute beast. I don't think people give him enough credit, and rightfully so. We just haven't seen enough of him. But I think he put his drop issues from 2019 behind him. I think whenever he was targeted last year, he came up really big, like NC State game. And whenever Jordan went down, we just need to throw him the damn ball more. And I don't think it's too much to ask. Just get him 5 catches a game.
Yeah.
That's not that much to ask.
It's really not. As you said, like the stars have aligned for a huge breakout Will Mallory season. And really, if we call the plays to get him the ball, it really just boils down to him at that point. And he hasn't been, totally consistent. I agree that he had a really great year last year, and that's why I'm, saying the stars have aligned. But it just comes down to him, in my opinion. Is he going to be a Green Tree All-Star this year, or is he going to be a all ACC first team all ACC tight end, which I think he's very capable of. I think he could be a first round pick.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do too, man. I think if Brevin didn't have injury problems, he would have been a first round pick, in my opinion, or at least early second round. And, I wrote an article probably a month ago that, we just need to use the tight ends more, man. And I think Will Mallory is our best receiver, like pass catching receiver. I think he's the most dangerous. I think can be the most consistent, but it's up to us targeting him and then him just pulling it down.
He's huge, man. Like in the red zone, he should get at least 1 to 2 plays called just for him every time we're in the red zone.
Yeah, 85 to the corner, man. 85 to the corner. That's what it is. Offensive line. We return everybody. Everybody. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's Zion Nelson or a 12th year senior in Jared Williams, who's going to be 33 this year. We are literally returning everybody. Steph, obviously we did not have a stellar offensive line last year, but it was better than 2019. Because I was listening to the Orange Bowl boys a few days ago, and Rowe was saying that this is a good ACC offensive line. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The talent is there, especially the top end talent. I mean, I don't think any of us thought we were going to say this about 2 years ago, but we have a legitimate possible first round pick on this offensive line. Zion Nelson has completely changed his game. He's been committed to the process. And he's put on the weight. The kid's a left tackle through and through. And I don't think we thought we would have this after that Eno season that we had. But he's come through. Jared Williams is the senior on that line. Well, the redshirt senior, I should say. That guy is an excellent right tackle. He does a good job. He's not excellent, but he is serviceable. He does what we need him to do. And he has a comfort level with how Derek King kind of operates back there. So you don't have to worry about him being confused about what Derek King's going to do. Okay. And the middle of that line is great. I mean, the guards are big. Our center is intelligent, and I think we have a great line.
Well, so let me. So I 100% agree with you with Zion Nelson. I think Jared Williams is a very serviceable right tackle. He's got that grown man strength now. I think Corey Gaynor is a solid center. My struggles come at the guards, especially DJ Scaife. I don't know what the hell happened last year, but he was not very good. Do you guys think that there is a possibility? Jordan, I'll ask you first, and then Steph, you can answer. Do you think that it's possible that by the end of spring we can see a guy like a Jalen Rivers or even Isaiah Walker? I know he plays tackle most of the time, but he can play guard. Do you think that we can see some of these younger guys really challenge DJ or even Navon Donaldson for starting position?
I do, and here's why. I'm kind of going to answer your last question as well here. Is I think pretty much anything's possible for this offensive line. I think Zion Nelson was really the only guy in my mind that gave me confidence going into this next season. I understand that we have a very experienced offensive line coming back, and that is one of the biggest hurdles to overcome when you're trying to build a solid unit. However, I'm looking for the right balance right now in how to approach this from an analysis point of view, because we were still 93rd in college football last year in sacks given up. Like, we weren't a good offensive line, and we had continuity from the year before too. So yes, we have experience, but we have a lot of guys that haven't produced at a high rate yet. So that's the thing, and that's kind of the problem that our team has as a whole. Is like, yeah, we have a lot of guys coming back, but we have a lot of guys coming back that haven't done much in their career, and so it really just boils down to, like, are people going to make a leap, or are we just going to be mediocre again? And I think, like, that's kind of my theme for the entire roster overall. But I think this offensive line unit is the one that most exemplifies that, in the fact that, yes, we do have like 9 guys returning or whatever, pretty much the whole depth chart at offensive line. But it's like, how many of these guys am I confident in? I really don't have a good answer for that, because, like,
I would say that Zion Nelson is a guy that I'm confident in now. His 2019 season was rough, so I mean, any leap would have been a big leap, but he turned out to be a really, productive left tackle. I think Jared Williams is probably exactly the player that we all thought we were going to get. Steph, do you think that there's any young offensive lineman that you think can really challenge for a starting spot?
I think Jalen Rivers for sure. He has the pedigree. He's got the size, and his footwork rather is excellent. I saw a short video kind of detailing him coming out of high school, and he has everything that you want as a tackle. Now, a lot of times when you see it in the NFL, the best guards are usually the average tackle coming out of college, and I think that's where Rivers will find his money spot. I think that left guard spot, well, this year he won't have that. He'd probably have the right guard spot, but he can be all ACC there, I think, 100%. I think he's an excellent player. I think Isaiah Walker is being lined up for that right tackle spot for when Williams is gone. I think that's his spot, basically drawn in blood. So I don't necessarily see him doing too much at guard. I think he still has some things to work out as far as off the field and in conditioning. But I think Rivers is the guy. I trust him 100%. And then when you talk about other guys that you can actually trust, Navon Donaldson. I mean, when he's been on, he has been the best offensive lineman in the ACC. I mean, that's not hyperbole. I totally believe that. I think that guy is legitimate. With that said, he's almost never healthy. Yeah. So that's your issue. I mean, we forget how good he was his freshman season. He was
really good as freshman. That's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and even last year, like when he came back for the Duke game, he was moving like 2-3 guys.
Yeah, he was very good against Duke as well.
And you have to remember, in that Duke game, he hadn't practiced for more than a week prior to that game, and he just came in and was just pushing guys around like it was nothing. And that Duke line, even though we won 48-0, had NFL players on it. I cannot remember the defensive end's name on there, but I believe he ended up being all ACC. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now either, but yes, I know who you're talking about. Shoot, what's his name? Oh well, but yes, they did have an NFL end on there.
I think they had a pretty good defensive line, and we were able to run the ball on them very well. But I know that I'm just really excited to see. I'm not saying that he'll start, but I'm really excited to see what kind of player we get in Isaiah Walker, because there has been so much hype surrounding him ever since he came out of high school, went to UF, and now is at UM. I want to see, how much the, David Feely strength and conditioning program has paid off for him. He has incredible talent, man. And Jalen Rivers is another guy. He can be a dominant guard. He's a lot more mobile than people give him credit for. He can move for a big guy. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think Ja'Kai Clark and John Campbell, any expectations for those guys?
No, I mean, I don't know, and I don't try to mean that in an insulting way, but it's like, it's kind of what I was saying about the wide receivers, man, is there has been so much opportunity for guys to step up and really take control of a spot on this offensive line. And, I feel like, Steph brought up some really good points about Navon Donaldson. All that is true. Also the injury concerns are true.